Hello, I chose topic 4, which was rewriting the past. And so in 1984, the book, the past was something they altered in order to gain power over the people. They used this as a source of manipulation, and it worked for the most part. Winston's job in the Ministry of Truth was to change the documents of the past to align with the current agenda of the government. This was so the people would believe the government that the past really sucked and that they were getting a good deal. Nowadays, these documents are stored online instead of on paper, which will help keep all the old PDFs and documents. So question 1 is, does this increase the possibility that the record of the past will be changed or lost? Now that documents are stored online, it is nearly impossible for government authorities to alter the past the way that they did in 1984. Everything on the internet is stored and can't fully be erased. Somewhere along the line, somebody will have the real document or the old official rules or guidelines or laws tucked away, never allowing the government to get away with this. Although they could try changing it, they most likely wouldn't make it far with the scheme due to the current day technology. The chances of our old files being lost is nearly impossible, and the chance of it being changed is very low due to the risk and difficulty of keeping it a secret. One quote that supported this statement is, "How do we know that two and two make four, or that the force of gravity works, or that the past is unchangeable? If both the past and the external world exist only in the mind, and if the mind itself is controllable, what then?" They're claiming that if everything is within the mind, then it is able to be manipulated, and that if you are born being taught a certain thing, then it will stick with you, and it will be your current day truth. So if you were taught from a young age the false information, then that would be your truth. This would be very hard to happen today since we have history books, internet sources, newspapers, pictures, etc. that can help us prove or disprove information to be true. Not only that, but proles, for example, were seen as people with lower intelligence levels and no desire to push back on the government. With the way that citizens are today, rebellion, revolts, and any sort of outbreaks can occur at any moment. Question 2 is it possible that some of you might end up with a job like Winston's? Yes, it is possible that in the future people may end up with Winston's job because we never know where our government might end up. Something may happen where we see all the power in one's hands or a single group and their agenda goes off the grid. This can lead to the altering of the past like we see in 1984 and the manipulation of the public because they don't know any better. Supreme power in a government can easily allow them to attempt altering the past. You can also possibly see it in other fields such as jobs where they could alter the past wages given or the hours of work per week or something along those guidelines. In simple terms, this is a quote I chose actually for this to back it up, and I said in simple terms, Winston's job was to rectify the original figures by making them agree with the later ones. And this is something that can easily go into the public's conscious, and they could be totally unaware if done correctly, which gives them a lot of power, the government. And we can see this in modern news such as QAnon pushing false news and government officials giving off false information to benefit their situation or goals that they are trying to achieve. And for question 3, is it important to know what the past was really like? Why or why not? And so, yes, it is important. The past in 1984 was something that was a mystery to the public, and they were limited to the most basic knowledge that is shared with them by Big Brother. They regulated the intelligence of the proles, which allowed them to run the government however they would like because they didn't know any better, the proles. The past that the proles know is the one that Big Brother wanted them to know. They have no idea of what it actually was like, which allows the government to take advantage of the public and push their agenda in any which way they would like. And a quote I chose was, "Until they became conscious, they will never rebel. And until after they have rebelled, they cannot become conscious." And this is saying that the past has never been known by the proles, so therefore they have no reason or prior knowledge to rebel. And if they ever gain that knowledge, they will still not have the conscience to rebel. And it is very important to know what the past was like so you don't repeat history. If knowledge of past diseases, wars, or governments were never shared with the current generation, then we would be likely to make the same mistakes that they did in the past. An example of knowing the past helps us, for example, like the Spanish flu. We knew before COVID that it's been around 100 years, and after 100 years, there's likely a big disease or outbreak, and this was with COVID. And also in World War II, in World War I, it helped us for current issues such as Russia because we were aware of the consequences that came with with NATO getting involved, and the past impacts of this were much greater than many countries wanted, and therefore we understood to not get involved. And history helps us steer clear of prior incidents and to continue to evolve as a nation. Big Brother knew that if that past was always altered, then the proles would never learn from it and would stay under the control forever.